Hey, you guys. Welcome back to Tell Me Why You're Special. Y'all, this is the arena. No warm up, no soft landing. These are real people with real stories and the kind of truth that has been changing something in me. I really feel like it's changing something in you. Today's guest, I'll keep this short because her story is hers to tell, not mine, is someone who has been described by people who know her work as a warrior of light. And this isn't something I would roll my eyes at ever. I'm going to lean into this because the people who carry that kind of description usually earned it the hard way. I'm going to let her finish telling the story, you guys. I'm so excited. So I have Sylvia Worsham here today in the hot seat. And right out the gate, Sylvia, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time and the fact like you're all mine for for the next 30 minutes. I'm very excited about that. Elevator pitch. Who are you? What do you do? And who needs to find you?
Any high achievers need to find me because I used to be one.
Yeah.
And why I was a high achiever really goes back to childhood. And I won't bore you guys with that. But what makes me special is that I received three miracles in 72 hours, and it profoundly shifted my life. I was a top saleswoman for the number one company in the world, and I wasn't fulfilled. I did not feel whole. And at the time I received the three miracles, it just forced me to re-look at my life and say, I think I'm in the wrong purpose and I need to find out what is my divine purpose. And so I started on the quest. So who needs to find me aside from the high achievers? It's just people that are going through major change
Yeah.
because I've been through it all and come out on the other side to share the wisdom I've gained.
Yeah. No, I think that's incredible. And I agree with you. Um, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's even everybody who's actively looking for change. I think that there's a common denominator in a lot of people, like, award-winning career in corporate sales. That's amazing. That's not a small thing. That's a life you build. It's an identity you earn. And all of these high achievers, it's their identity, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's a version of success that most people are holding on to with both hands and may not realize that it's not fulfilling. And I get that all the time of, in this conversation of like, I had everything and I was empty. I had it all and I was miserable.
Mhm.
I had it all and I wanted, I mean, it's been to the extreme of like even unaliving yourself, like that depth of, you know, despair. But a lot of people keep quiet about it because they think, I have all this. I can't complain about this. Like, who am I to complain? And, someone has it worse than me. Like, we always just kind of justify it. But like, what is it like for them and for you? Like, you're really good at something, and then how did you recognize that feeling of like, this is not the thing though?
Even though I was an awesome salesperson, when I stood on stage in front of 300 of my peers, I thought, is this it? Is this what happiness is supposed to feel like?
Yeah.
And even though I was excited because I had turned a non-performing territory around,
Yeah.
and I was a single mom and I had just been through a divorce, I was very proud of myself. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I knew deep inside of me there was just more to it. And when I was a little kid, I had had a teacher in fifth grade that said, you should be a writer. And that seed had been planted in me long ago. And when I did the talk, I had several colleagues show up and say, you really are powerful with your words. You have a powerful presence on stage and you captivate audiences. You need to consider being a speaker. And so I considered all of that. And I'm someone that is highly intuitive. Like I can
Yeah.
sense energies from a mile away. I know when people lie to me. So that makes me a phenomenal life coach because I know when people are lying to
Yeah.
me.
You can call
They're
bullshit.
saying one thing, but
Yeah.
their heart is deceiving them.
Hmm.
And and I turned inward.
Yeah.
And when you face death like I did,
Yeah.
life gets very clear very fast.
Yeah.
These small things that used to bother you, they just don't.
Yeah.
And when you have the presence of the Lord, I mean, where he makes his presence known
Yeah.
in an ICU, and you
Yeah.
receive the third and final miracle of a second chance, it's hard to ignore that.
Yeah. I want to get into that. First, number one, Sylvia, do we have the same teacher? Because that was
I
a
don't
seed
know.
that was planted in me at this, like around the same age. Um, but it's incredible the seeds that are planted in us that we don't realize until we've reached one of those turning points, right? And you talk about turning points not even necessarily as a moment of crisis, but like obviously opportunities for growth, which is part of our
Yes.
human experience. And before we get to yours, I definitely want to go there next. I want to say, what does someone look like right before their turning point? Are there signs that a pivot is coming that all of these people are just ignoring?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it is.
Yeah.
And what I found to be true about these pivotal moments is that fear is in control a lot during these pivotal moments. But there comes a point where you don't have another choice but to surrender to that pivotal moment.
Yeah.
And I experienced it myself several times over. I I write about it in the book in that there's a desire that your soul feels pulled to do.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's coming from.
Right.
You just know that you're getting this persistent thought to do something and it comes out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
that's right before that pivotal moment. You start thinking about certain things that you need to do, but you just are too afraid to
Yeah.
take that initial step.
Or if you're like me, you say, I don't want to do this. And you say it for a couple months. Like, I don't want to do that. God, I don't want to do that.
Well, who am
I'm
I
not doing that.
to write about this and to guide people on this? I'm the biggest sinner. Like,
Yeah.
why did you choose me?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I've been there. But this morning, interestingly enough, in prayer and deep meditation, I felt an enormous pull
Yeah.
to write down all the reasons why I think he chose me.
Yeah. I'm not ready for that. But I'm happy that I finally listened to him. So like, we're good now. But I'm a work in
Oh,
progress.
you're one of those. Okay, you're like one of me. Oh, baby girl, you need to do this. No, I really
I
don't
know.
want to do this.
I
But baby
know.
girl, well, let me give you
Yeah.
another lesson and see if this
Yeah.
one will wake you up. Yeah, I've been there.
It comes. Okay, so I want to get into this now because, something happened to you medically that changes everything for you. So I want you to take us there. Not
Okay.
necessarily even the lesson yet or even the silver lining, but like that actual experience of what happened and what it felt like when your life came to a full complete stop.
Well, it was 3 o'clock in the morning and I was in a hotel room. My son was next to me and I was jolted out of bed. And the pain was unlike any other pain I've ever experienced. I felt like 50 knives were piercing my chest and it was horrific. I had taken a flight just hours before, which was miraculous. I did not die mid-flight.
Wow.
And I remember hearing the prompting of the Holy Spirit say, lean forward and you'll be able to breathe. So I leaned forward. And I don't call a soul because I had talked to my brother who was a doctor
Yeah.
and he thought it was this other condition. He told me it was going to be really painful. So I thought that that's what it was, but
Yeah.
it was not. The next day, I get admitted to the hospital. I'm in Houston, Texas. It is Easter weekend. So it's coming up.
Yeah.
The timing of this interview is interesting. And I walk in unassisted, they do a scan, and a critical care pulmonologist walks in my ER holding room and says, a woman in your condition should not be sitting up talking to me. You should have died last night. You
Yeah,
have
that's
two
dire.
large pulmonary embolisms that pass through your heart. They should have stopped it,
Wow.
and they didn't. The fact that you leaned forward is what saved you.
Wow.
So I knew that was my first miracle. And so he said, you're not leaving. It's Good Friday. My son was outside with my boyfriend. He wasn't even my husband then.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. And I'm not from Houston, Texas. I was from South Texas. So I was like, okay, I'm in deep doo doo now.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, the next day they do another scan because they had on the initial scan, they had caught the top of my liver and it was inflamed. And I thought, with my medical training and coming from an entire family of doctors, I thought it was a tumor and I was terrified.
Yeah.
And they came back and they said, we have a real problem. You have a massive blood clot, they said, in your vena cava. And for those listening, the vena cava is the main vein that takes blood out of your main organs.
Oh,
If it gets clotted, you go into
you're done.
like, you're done
Yeah.
because you'll go into septic shock because everything starts to shut down very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was shutting down my liver.
Oh,
And so I was about to lose my liver and require a transplant. So here I am faced with pulmonary embolisms, this thing that is they're racing against time. They're shocked. I even walked in to the
yeah.
hospital. I should have been doubled over in pain.
Yeah.
Now I know in reflection that was God's providence protecting me.
Yeah.
And so here comes the biggest fight of my life. So they say we're not going to do traditionally your case is unlike any other case we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to give you this big time drug. And now, mind you, I came from that world, from pharmaceuticals. That's what I was doing at the time.
Okay.
And they started going through the entire list of things that can go wrong with this thing,
Oh boy.
primarily neurological,
Yeah.
stroke related, death. I mean, it was awful all of a sudden. And
Yeah.
I thought to myself, at that point, my mind went blank when they got to death and hemorrhagic stroke,
Yeah.
when they were listing these things. And the image that I visualized was the falling into God's arms.
Yeah.
And I told them, you are now in control because obviously the experts in the field, and now I'm in the medical center, the number
Yeah.
one medical center in the world in the United States, and the top hospital for my condition. So I mean that's miraculous too that I
Yeah.
landed there. And so the next day is Easter Sunday morning, and in walks this lady from the Catholic diocese. Because when I walked in, of course, they ask you, hey, what religion, blah, blah, blah. And I said,
Yeah.
well, I'm kind of in between.
Yeah.
I'll say Catholic for now, because that's what I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so we formed a circle. It was her, my boyfriend, and myself. And in the middle of the Lord's Prayer, a love that was so powerful enveloped the entire room. And I felt cradled by Christ himself.
Yeah.
It was like a bubble of protection. And I remember knowing I was okay. I didn't need confirmation. And a peace washed over me, a peace I had never felt in my whole life, and a love like I had been seen and understood to the
Yeah.
fullest. And to be in his presence is quite powerful. It is something that profoundly changed me. She left the room, and my boyfriend turns to me and says, you felt them too, didn't you?
Oh.
And so he also had his answered prayer.
Yeah.
And what made it so profound for me was that they expected for me to have long-term complications because of the size of the pulmonary embolus, because I had them everywhere. It wasn't
Yeah.
just my left lung. They expected me to have large holes and to require therapy for life.
Mm-hmm.
God had told me that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
And when they wheeled me, they came out and they were like so shocked that I had no long-term complications whatsoever. It didn't even look like I had any disease. Like what had happened to everything, they could not say what happened. And so that's the profound moment that forced me to look at my life and say,
What am I doing?
why did I survive when so many don't? There must be a powerful reason, a powerful purpose. And so I went on a quest to actively look for it
Yeah.
and started that personal growth journey. I had started it years before after my divorce, but now I really kicked into gear.
Yeah.
And I was someone that because I have ADHD, I have a hyper focus. Once I get focused on something, there's like nothing that deters me from finding out why.
Yep. You're in good company there.
So that's the profound moment that just shifted
Yeah.
everything.
So this was a huge turning point, and you use the word retired, retiring into your soul's purpose.
Yes.
And I want to kind of touch on that word because I think for like a lot of high achieving women,
Mhm.
stepping away from a career that they're winning at feels
Yeah.
like a loss. Like you did so much, you came so far. Um, Even though it's a liberation, right? Like that heavy loss. What did it feel like to leave? Is it something that was clean or was it complicated, even, I mean, in your humanity?
In my humanity, it was complicated. So I'll be honest with everybody. It wasn't as clean cut as like, oh, I received the Lord's, second chance, and I immediately jumped. It's hard to let
Everything was
go.
great. Yeah.
It's hard to let go
Yeah.
because you're right. You have built an identity around being a high achiever. And I had tied my worth to the size of my paycheck.
Yeah.
That was problem number one. And I had to peel back those layers and get to the root of why I did that.
Yeah.
Because my mind it's so gifted in finding out why. That's why I'm so good at life coaching,
Yeah.
because we get to the root cause of what is driving these belief systems within you.
Yeah.
And that unworthiness had to be, peeled back
Yeah.
several layers. And so that takes time
Yeah.
and reflection and a focus and an intentionality on your part and good help. I did hire a coach and I hired a therapist because I came at it from two different angles. The therapist from the trauma angle, and I had significant trauma in my life,
Yeah.
and and coaching because coaching focuses on the present moment. And so from the two angles, I was able to start moving forward
Yeah.
in what God had for me. And I turned to him. I started to ask him questions and he started to reveal those answers through my writing because I started to journal 3 pages every day and declutter my mind. And the more I did that, the more clear everything became. And I could hear his voice clearly uh, above all the noise in my head that was telling me that I was not enough, that I was not worthy. But because I had surrendered to him and he had come through for me and given me my second chance, I now trusted him. It wasn't just a belief in him, it was a trust now.
Yeah.
And now that he had my trust, now he could guide me.
Yeah.
And that's how I started to move in the direction. It was about 3 years before I would get my answer. And so everybody listening needs to understand our timing is very different than his.
Yeah.
And what his is perfect for what he's equipping you to do next.
I love like we are I don't know how we're like soul connected at this point because I'm like so much of your stuff I can relate to and I definitely went off the path that God had for me. I burned everything down. It's been about 3 years and I knew this time everything I did had to be on the foundation of Christ or there's no point. I may as well give up, cash it in, I'm done because there
Yeah.
nothing is ever going to be good for me. And
No.
yeah, it's been about 3 years and I get it now. And I see all the ways that he held me through that space, why he had the 3 year wait, everything I had to grow through in the
Mhm.
past 3 years because just that. And he's still like every
Oh,
single
we're
day.
still, the thing is, it's always a journey
Yeah.
until you die. And,
Yes.
the big trap that I think most of us fall into, especially the high achieving women, is
Yeah.
that you're journeying to, and there's no journey to journey.
Just a journey.
That's why my masterminds are called Joy in the Journey,
Yes.
because you will have joy as you're going through trials and tribulations.
Yep.
And I went through plenty in those 3 years because it was like God, the great surgeon, used the scalpel to like remove those layers
Yep.
slowly. And some of them hurt, and some of
Yeah.
them you keep going back to because you don't let go.
Yeah.
You got to let it go.
Yep. I agree with that so much. I mean, your story is just amazing. I see now, like I see this in a lot of people. There is a gap between the soul's purpose and a lot of the life that someone is currently living. And
Yeah.
I know there's women listening right now that are standing in that gap and they're frozen.
Yeah.
What they know, like they hear the same voice we did, that there's more.
Yeah.
I've been hearing there's more for 30 years. I know
Mhm.
everybody has it. Whether you choose to listen to it, I know it's there. But like what makes it so hard for them to cross? What is keeping them on the wrong side of that bridge to just surrender?
Well, there's a conflict that is going on between your ego identity and your soul identity. And this is scripture. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is biblical concepts. If you look at Galatians 5:17, it talks about the sins of the flesh, the desires of the flesh versus being spirit led.
Yeah.
So there is a conflict. And so what needs to happen first is for you to identify what is at the root, what belief is keeping you stuck,
Yeah.
what is that ego identity doing, how have you programmed your mind to respond?
Yep.
And if you need help with that, get some help. That's why we have coaches. That's why there's so many coaches out there. But make sure it's somebody that's actually certified as a life coach,
Yeah.
because they know what they need to do, the work that you guys need to do
Mm-hmm.
to shift, because it's a minor shift. It's not a big, I think why people don't step into those feelings and
Yeah.
feel the feels is because they think they're going to rehash things and they don't want to get into that. So that's the block. But the one question I always ask people is like, so you'd rather carry all that inside of you and project it?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing right now and you're not happy. So you got to do something different. So
Right.
sitting with it, learning from it, and moving through it is really the answer to get to the side of joy and Christ himself, who's waiting patiently for you to be in the present moment. Because you see, Christ is not in our past and he's not technically in our future, although he sees everything. He's in the present moment
Yeah.
where you're at, where you have those choices and he's giving you a choice. He says, I've heard your prayers and I want to give you more than what you're asking for.
Yep.
But you must release your fear
Yeah.
to me. You gotta surrender that.
Love that. Yep. I agree with that. You are a fellow 3-time best-selling author. I love this. And so I have to ask this question. What did writing your books demand of you and expose of you that coaching and speaking never would?
Oh, that is such a profound question, man. That is a hard one. You know what it revealed? The lack of self-love I initially started off with. That's what it revealed to me. The revelation came halfway through the manuscript, the first manuscript, that my definition of self love was how God sees and loves me
Yeah.
instead of the definition that we get outside of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
That was a huge revelation for me. And it's not something that I actively people see in my everyday, like when I'm hosting my podcast or I'm on stages or I'm life coaching. I they don't really see that aspect, but
Yeah.
that's what writing that first manuscript did for me.
Yeah.
It was that initial step, because if you don't love yourself, the whole thing with Christ is love me and love others like you love yourself.
Yep.
So the first step is loving yourself.
Yeah. I very
And
much
that's what
agree
was
with that.
revealed.
Yeah. And I think people really just don't understand that if you don't love yourself, you're never capable of truly loving someone else. So when you
Yeah.
see these people walking around with like the constant I love you and you see how they take care of themselves, it's not even something you can take serious. It's they just don't understand. And I think until you really know Christ, I think I never really knew what love was. And I'm saying even
Yeah,
I have 6 kids. Yeah.
the unconditional part of love, because you look outside in society
Yeah.
and it's a contractual thing in a marriage.
Uh-huh.
And it's not a contract, it's a covenant.
Yeah.
And it's abide in me
Mm-hmm.
as I abide in you. Like we are one.
Yeah.
We're co-collaborating. And the manuscript, when I wrote it, I was co-collaborating with Christ.
Yeah.
And that's not something you see when I'm on stages,
Yeah.
unless you ask me directly.
Yeah. I just feel like for me writing is so much more intimate. Like a podcast is easy. I can come out here and talk all day long. Like we can talk about whatever. Pen to paper, it's a whole different version of me and it's intimate. So my first book,
Mhm.
I was horrified. I'm like the whole world can see me now. Like oh shit,
I
I
know, I
don't even know
remember
what to
that. I'm
do.
like,
Yeah,
ah!
still
Like, how are
sometimes.
we going to receive it? Because when he
Yeah,
told me, I want you to write about the most painful turning points of your life, I'm like, are you crazy?
yeah,
And,
yeah,
well, I'm God. I'm not crazy. I'm
yeah,
God. And I'm like, I realize that, but do you know what this is like? Why? Why am I
yeah,
doing this?
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
get
how it
it.
is. Your podcast, let's talk about that. You talk about release doubt, reveal purpose. Um, I think a lot of people try to skip straight to purpose and they never
Yeah.
actually do that releasing of the doubt. What does that look like and what does the process require?
The releasing of the doubt, it's a very simple thing. It's the same concept I write in Faith I Thrive, Finding Joy Through God's Master Plan, which is my best-selling book that released almost 2 years ago in September. That one takes you on a process out of your fear. So we gain freedom from fear first, and then we can step into joy in the journey.
Yeah.
And then from joy, then you can surrender to God's sovereignty. And released out, reveal purpose kind of guides people on that spiritual journey of we have all been through dark chapters.
Yeah.
All of us have had trials and tribulations. And some of us have moved through it. So it's a way of empowering people to say, if you're in that dark chapter, move through it, feel the feels, learn the wisdom, the lessons that are equipping you for the next part, which is to be and embody joy. We
Yeah.
can't embody joy when we have fear that is dominating our heart. It's
Yeah.
either one or the other,
Yeah.
but both cannot coexist. So we must release ourselves from the cage of fear first, step into joy, and then from joy, then it's an easier transition then to trust in his sovereignty. Because when you are in joy, and I don't mean joy the way that the world describes joy,
Yeah.
I mean joy in the small moments.
Yes.
Like when you walk outside and the sun is brilliant and the blue is like a sky blue
Yeah.
and just the birds are chirping and you pause. You don't have your phone on you and you're just it's like a marvelous sight for you.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is the joy I feel when I'm in relationship with him
Yeah.
and just praising him for another day of life. That's joy in the journey. And then from that space, when you start to embody all these things, now you can easily step into and accept the purpose
Yeah.
that you've been granted. Because in the joy space is where you discover what those gifts are that you've been uniquely gifted with that you now are going to use to serve master plan,
Yeah.
his master plan, and serve humanity with those gifts because we're not supposed to keep these gifts for ourselves, like in our little box and
Yeah.
just, we're supposed to give it to others.
Yeah.
Love me and love others. We love others in the way we serve others, just like Christ did when he was here on earth.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that? What she's saying is everything I'm telling you, that story you're sitting on, the whole premise of the show, you can't keep that stuff to yourself. Like everything you're going through, that story is what God is going to use to bring someone else to their potential. So
Yes,
I have one more question for you.
sure.
There is a woman listening right now, right? She knows. She knows. Like she's heard it. She knows the life that she's living is not the life she's supposed to be living. She's known it for a long time. She just hasn't done anything about it. What do you say to her? The Sylvia answer. Like right now, you get to say something to her.
Be the light, embody your light fully.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. He's with you. If he's
Yeah.
if he's putting it in your heart, in a desire in your heart to do this, it's because he knows that you are capable. I want you to remember Second Timothy. He does not give us a spirit of timidness,
Yeah.
but of power, love, and self-discipline. So you've got it all. You've got the discipline, you've got the power, you've got the love, and you have the confidence. Why are you still there? Step into your light.
I agree with that. And this is the part of the show that I love the most because I get to tell you what I think makes you special. And it's not the bestseller titles. That's amazing. Not the awards from your corporate career. Again, amazing. Not even the miraculous recovery, as significant as that is. What makes you special is that when everything stopped, you listened to him. When the thing that was supposed to be your success became the thing that redirected you, you didn't fight it. You didn't put it up in a box. You didn't become a victim. You didn't cling to what was comfortable. You were willing to release that and go through the growing pains to follow your light. And now you turn around and you build a whole road so that other women can find that same door. That isn't just a coaching business. That is an incredible calling of steward potential answered out loud in public at full volume. And the women who find you are not finding a program. I know they're finding proof that the disruption that they're experiencing is not the end of their story. It's the beginning of the real one. And I think that is so incredibly beautiful. Thank you for being a warrior of light in a world that needs it desperately. Thank you for being someone who is willing to bring Christ into everything they're doing and to open other people up to the possibility of being able to see such an unconditional love. And thank you, for being able to talk about the hard road that made you this person. To everyone listening, you guys, this show is for you, not the polished version of you, not the version that has already crossed to the other side of the thing, the version of you that is right here, right now, in the present moment, filling the pool of something you cannot fully name yet, something that keeps showing up no matter how many times you have dismissed it and ignored it. That is not a distraction. The pull is the point. Your mess is your message. Sylvia's crisis became her ministry. Her corporate exit became her call. Every single thing that looked like a detour is actually the road. And that is true for you too, wherever you are, whatever you're carrying, whatever chapter you're in the middle of. I want to shake you guys. I want to shake you because please, like whatever you have been waiting to resolve before you take the next step, you need to stop waiting because the step is the message. Go find Sylvia. Check out the Release the Doubt, Reveal the Purpose podcast. Look into her Joy in the Journey masterminds. I have her links in the show notes. If you're a woman who's in the middle of a shift and you don't fully understand it yet, she's someone you need to know. I feel that with my whole heart. I I just met her tonight and I back her 100%. Okay. The link
Thank
is
you.
in the show notes. You guys come back here because we'll be in this arena every week. I need you to like the show. I need you to subscribe to this show. And then we need a review. We need a review because you know someone that we would never, be able to get in touch with. You know someone that Sylvia needs to reach. So I'm just saying, let that be the most unselfish thing you do today. And please share the episode out with, listen to the nudge, whoever you need to give it to. Share the show so the right people can find it. Leave a review because that also helps it be seen by the people who need to see it. So um, that's it for today, Sylvia. Again, I mean, God bless your journey. It's incredible. I love that you're stewarding his work, and I just admire you. I'm in awe. And thanks for sitting in the
Appreciate it.
hot seat. And you guys, I'll see you in the arena.